Hello, let's see. Hello, my
Hello,
friends.
how are you?
All good. Happy to have you with me in the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited
Yeah,
to have it.
of course. And first of all, happy birthday. You have just turned 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's my birthday. It feels
yeah.
amazing.
It was amazing video you have posted on LinkedIn for this shark cage. How was the experience?
It's something I've always wanted to do my whole life and literally my entire life. I've
Okay.
always wanted to be in like a shark's natural environment.
Okay.
So to finally do that like 40 years later, it was something else. It's
But
unbelievable. I recommend it.
how did you get this, like, let me say, the crazy idea of being in front of a shark?
So I think 2 years ago,
Uh-huh.
my wife and I decided to do like adventurous things. So the first thing we did was skydiving in Dubai.
Okay.
So we're just trying to do fun, interesting things. Then we did scuba diving in the Maldives. That was amazing.
Okay.
We're looking for things to do that scare us just a little bit because that line between
Yeah,
adventure and fear, it's amazing
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I believe this is pumping a huge amount of adrenaline in your body, right?
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, though, the shark experience is super safe.
Okay.
So you don't actually feel fear. It's just more like you're on a safari looking at lions and things in a African.
Okay.
Right? It's the same experience because it's super safe. But
Okay.
you're just in a different environment, obviously, because you're in the ocean and these big
Of course.
dangerous sharks are there. But it's not actually dangerous, so you don't feel adrenaline coming from fear. It's just more you're enjoying the moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is where have you done this?
South Africa. It's a town called Gainsby in South Africa, in Cape Town.
Okay, this is which ocean? That side, Indian Ocean, or that side, Pacific Ocean?
I think that's the Indian. I think I might be
The
wrong.
India.
I
Yeah,
think
the east side of Africa, right?
yeah, correct.
Okay, okay. Wow. Worth trying, right?
Oh, it was amazing.
Okay, okay. I will put it in my to-do list.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
Start with skydiving.
yeah. So, but see, you are, mashallah, a very successful leader in the area of UI designing, the design in general. You did not only build or launch products, you actually wrote a book about it in your Ubuntu book. And you are also like a decorated international speaker. You have also recently launched your startup in that era. In our show here, we are trying to bring the real life experience to people who is watching us. So I wanted you to start by telling us the story, how this everything started, and what was the root reasons that helps you accomplish what you have accomplished today.
Sure, yeah. So we're going all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what I want.
Sure. So I'm from Zimbabwe. That's
Okay,
where I most of my adult life was spent living in Zimbabwe.
okay,
I've always been a creative child. So yeah, like design is something that's natural to me. I design in my sleep. I can design with my eyes closed. I've always been a designer. So when it came to choosing a career, where computer science came was if I went into design as a like studied design at university, it wasn't going to be challenging for me. I felt like I wanted something different, something that I still enjoyed. So
okay.
I did computer science because I loved math and I love statistics and figuring things out with numbers.
Wow,
And
you love math and you love design.
yes, it's a weird thing to be in the middle.
Yeah, this is a rare combination, to be honest.
Yeah, it is a rare combination. So I went to do computer science. And after graduating, I eventually found my way to combine those two loves, right? The coding and computer science side of my brain and the creative side of my brain. And that's where I ended up in like product UI UX world, because you're designing for a digital platform, right? So you
Yeah.
understanding what you're building and how it's built makes you a much better designer at the same time. It's just like I always say with architects, you can't really design a building unless you know how a building is made, right?
Yeah.
You can't be a functional architect unless you have an idea of the engineering side, and if what you're designing can actually be built, right? It's the same thing
Yes.
with design and UI UX. It makes a big difference if you understand the code, if you understand the underlying architecture under whatever it is you're designing. It makes you a much better designer. So that's
Exactly.
how I fell in love with product design, and that's what got me where I am today.
Wow. Wow. And how you started to realize this passion? يعني when was the moment where you converted your passion to a real value and started to offer your value to the world?
Hmm. I think if I zoom out, it's probably when I first started designing using computers, which is
Okay.
probably I was probably like 10 or 9 or 11 somewhere there with Microsoft
Okay.
Paint, because I went from being a classical kid drawing on paper to all of a sudden now there's a new medium that offers me infinite potential, right? You can do anything you can imagine on a computer.
Of course.
And that, I guess, moved me away from classical art type drawing on paper to making things on a computer. So I think that's the first time where I made that transition.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember in high school, a friend of mine introduced me to an even more sophisticated design tool. I actually don't remember what it was, but up until that point, I was designing and drawing things in Microsoft Paint. And then
Okay.
he me to it's like a precursor to Photoshop. Before Photoshop was a big thing. It was something
Okay.
else. And that was like it was like going from text edit on to Microsoft Word, right? It's a big difference to what you can do with text edit versus Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
So that was a big aha moment for me when I now actually had a really specialized graphic design tool with that allowed me to be like a designer, right? It just elevates your craft that much more. So that's what
Mm.
ended up having me go into a career as an actual person who designs stuff with computers, because I actually finally had tools that allowed me to really be creative and to build and design anything I wanted. And then
Wow.
finally, after university, after I graduated with computer science, I went back to Zimbabwe and started a company with my friend.
Okay.
We had a design studio in Zimbabwe for 5 years. That went really well. So at the time, you're a young guy starting a company, and it's just the two of us. So you learn a lot of things. You learn how to do a lot of things. You're self-taught in a lot of ways because you have to meet clients that they need, right, and build and design things that you never did know how to do before. So those 5 years, I think, were really foundational for me. I don't think I'll be sitting here if those 5 years didn't happen, because that's when you're building a company, you're doing client services, you're pitching
Yeah.
to CEOs and small business owners, you're presenting to government offices, your design work, right? You're hiring
Okay.
people. At one point, we had 12 sales reps and about 4 people in our core creative team.
Wow.
Um, it grew to something quite
Like
substantial.
like 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 total employees in that business was 60 people.
Not 60, no, 16, around
16.
16,
Ah,
one
one
six.
six. One
Yes.
six. Okay.
Most
Wow.
of it being sales because we needed people to go out and find business.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
it's that time when I started learning how to do web design, because a lot of our clients, you could do graphic design for them, but ultimately what they wanted was an online presence.
Yep.
So I had to be self-taught because at university we didn't learn websites, right? We learned how to build software. So two completely different programming languages.
Exactly.
I had to be self-taught when it came to HTML and CSS and building sites with content management systems and things like that. So that was,
This
I guess,
was around which year?
that was 2000, from 2008 to around 2015-ish, somewhere there.
Ah, it's like very early.
Very early. Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
first job, you could say. Yeah.
Wow.
So that experience, I think, really made me, because I was a director and an owner of the business. I've
Mhm.
carried that spirit of ownership throughout my career, even after I'd left the business and I went to work in South Africa for the
Yeah.
first. I still carried myself as being responsible for the success of whatever business I'm working for. And I think that's what that spirit is carried on, and I guess that's how I was able to progress from designer to lead, now head of design at a bank in Abu Dhabi. It's because of that leadership and in those years that hardened me at the beginning of my career.
Yeah. I'm 100% sure that running a business, it's not an easy task. And starting your career by running a business, I can tell it's an extremely hard thing. So tell me, yeah, more deeply about your experience as a fresh graduate who is running a business, actual
Yeah.
business.
So it's interesting. You're right. So, and it's interesting. The time when we did it was also quite difficult because Zimbabwe, if you're aware of the history a little bit, we went through a major economic crisis around
Yeah,
2000.
yeah.
So at the time we were running the business, Zimbabwe was going through an economic meltdown, right? With our inflation was in the thousands of percent,
Yeah.
uh, right? I remember one time leaving home, going to the city to meet a client, and then not being able to come back because the money I'd used, the value of that transportation had three times what it was in the morning when I left, right? So I had,
Wow.
like, we could say, for example, I had $5, which is enough to go and come back. By the time I need to come back, the cost is now $30. You know,
Wow.
that's how bad the inflation was. So I had to call my dad and ask him to come and pick me up because I didn't have enough money to go back home.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's the inflation. It was, the prices were hyperinflated and etc. So we had to build a business in that environment. And one thing we
okay.
did early on was to not use the local currency, but peg all our pricing with the US dollar. So people
Oh,
started to trade in US dollars, which is more stable. So all our pricing was in dollars.
mhm.
And all our clients paid us in dollars. So that allowed us to be stable and to
Mhm.
avoid inflation issues that we were having before, but also attract good quality clients that actually had the money to pay us as well, which
Of
was
course.
critical in our early days. But what's interesting about the environment is because of that hyperinflationary environment and the economic trouble everyone was in, people had to start businesses to supplement their income because the money you were being paid at work was not enough to survive, right? So the bulk of our clients, and by the end of the 5 years, we had over 200 clients that we had.
Impressive.
Most of them were small business people.
Okay.
Um, the regular Zimbabwean needed to start a business to survive. So we did a lot of branding work, logo work, social media management and content creation,
Yeah.
websites. Printing was a big thing because they needed to print business cards and flyers and brochures, company profiles, etc. So we did a lot of work for SMEs, which was really cool because a lot of those SMEs grew with us, right?
Yeah.
Probably a small percentage of them started as SMEs, but ended up being quite large businesses. Some of them ended up actually being listed on our local stock exchange. So it was
Wow.
cool because we grew with our clients. We were very close with them, and it really kind of molded us during those years to go from ourselves, which is just two kids in my dad's living room, to 6 months later moving out and renting an office in the middle of the city. Then
Yeah.
ultimately, we rented an entire house where we lived and our staff came to work.
Wow.
Nice, real progression.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. But here comes the tricky part. How did you leave all of this success and convert it to be an employee?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it was a tough decision because in as much as the business was successful on the outside, we were still just kids, right? We'd never worked anywhere. We didn't put systems in place. I think this entire time, I hardly got a salary. I don't remember actually getting a salary.
Okay.
So when I ended up getting married and now I had a wife and had to plan a future for myself,
Okay.
what I worked at the business wasn't sustainable. Because, like I said,
Okay.
we're living in the house. My partner and I were living in the house, and then that was where our office are. As a married person, I couldn't have my wife come and live, and it
Of
just took
course.
time to come there. I couldn't mix those two. So I had to move
Yeah.
out, rent an apartment. How do you rent an apartment without salary, right? You
Of
can't
course.
really. So I had to make a decision. I had to say, you know what, this is okay for a bachelor life, but for someone who's now married and wants a future with kids, I need to build a career where I can have a good, strong financial base, build that, and then come back to business if I want to.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense, to be honest. Makes sense because I don't believe that life is going in a straight line, usually like
Yeah,
linear progression. No, it's
exactly.
has to be like roller coaster, and
Ex-
eventually it goes up. But there must be differentiation between one
Yeah,
stage to another stage.
for sure. And
That's
things in
impressive.
Zimbabwe are improving as well. So my wife and I did not want to stay in Zimbabwe anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, so we had to, when we got married, we then moved to South Africa, where she was
Okay.
studying the job, and that's how we ended up leaving the company and leaving Zimbabwe.
So when you started to look for a job, you looked for a job in South Africa.
Correct. Yes. Well, no, I worked for about a year in Zimbabwe. So I was freelance design, and I was
Okay.
lecturing design as well. And then I was working for a small agency as well. So I had about two jobs at any given point, lecturing and working at the agency, which gave me a
Uh-huh.
income. But ultimately, we then moved to South Africa.
Okay. Okay. And then how did you manage to move from South Africa to Dubai?
Yeah. So when I first moved to South Africa, I met with a recruiter, a design recruiter,
Yeah.
because obviously I was looking for a job. He's a recruiter in South Africa. And about 1.5 years after we met, because we stayed in touch here and there,
Uh-huh.
he met me saying he's hiring for a role in Dubai.
Okay.
My wife and I had always wanted to work abroad. Like Africa wasn't the end of our story, right?
Of course.
Um, I jumped on that opportunity. I went through the interview process, and I was offered the job, and they relocated us to Dubai. And that's how that happened.
Wow. Usually, against all of the thoughts that might people have, some huge jumps in the life happens as easy as you have never imagined.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I remembered my first also job outside Egypt. I was working in a job in Egypt, one of the biggest telecom companies there, and I wanted to go out as well. As you have just mentioned, Africa is not the end of the story, and that destination was Japan.
Wow.
When I first heard the position in Japan, I imagine that it's very complicated. It's almost impossible. But I applied anyways. And
Yes.
then the interview process, the acceptance process, the visa process has gone exactly like this, as
Exactly.
easy as I have never imagined. Then
You
I
know what
ended
I
up,
realized? You
yeah,
know what I realized? I think the reason that happens sometimes is we tend to undervalue ourselves.
uh-huh,
there is only one Muhammad and there's only one Basi, and your path in life that got you to that place where you're applying for that Japanese position. There's only
Uh-huh.
one in the world that had that entire life experience that you
Yeah.
had up to that point. So from their perspective, when they meet you, they're like, "Where have you been our whole life? Like, we want a person like you, who has the
Uh-huh.
skills you have, who speaks the way you do, who has the ambition that you have. There's only one of you." So
Exactly.
in much as we it seems like it happened like that, it literally took your entire life to prepare you for that jump.
Amazing. Amazing perspective. Really amazing one. But you have created a font, which is wow for me, right? Tell me this story.
Yeah, it's a good story because it comes back to what we're saying about Africa is not the end of our story. Even though I didn't want Africa to be the end of my story, it inevitably became my story uh,
Uh-huh.
because I had like an identity crisis about 3 or 4 years ago, where I was trying to I was trying to figure out who I was in the design world, right? What
Okay.
identity was I gonna have? Because the issue with the design world, maybe not the issue, but the reality is we lean a lot on Western identity and Western design identities,
Yeah,
right?
that's
If
true.
you hear the philosophy less is more, a lot of that comes from Scandinavian and Western design philosophies, right? All the books we read on design written by the Western world, all
Yes,
the big brands we look up to, they're all Western brands.
correct.
Uh, so my entire identity was that I was a designer, and if you're going to make a beautiful design, probably going to be less is more, white, typography systems that are Western, like Helvetica, Arial. All of those fonts were created in a Western context,
Correct.
right? So if I was going to be special, if I was going to stand out, how was I going to do that? And the answer came to me like, why am I not? Why am I afraid of my Africanness? Right? That's
Yeah.
what makes it special. That's what got me to where I am. Is that entire experience of living in Africa, going through the hardships we went through with the business I started during that hyperinflation
Yeah.
environment. That hardens you, right? It makes you a much better person in a corporate context than people that were sheltered and covered, right?
So,
So I
100%.
ended up redoing my entire personal brand to be an African designer with an African perspective. And how I launched that was through the font you just mentioned, which is called the Sankofa display in
Sankofa display. Yeah.
Sankofa. Yeah. So it was a project. It wasn't just a font. It was a whole project and thought piece around designers around the world, not just African ones, but all designers in the world had the same dilemma of losing their personal identity and culture to default to Western values of design. So I wanted Japanese designers to find their voice in the design world as a Japanese designer or Mexican designer or a African designer, etc. Right? You need to find and draw from your experiences of your culture, and because special on the world stage as a designer. So the project was called Sankofa. I started off with a font and worked with a Nigerian typographer called Demi Vincent. Shout out to Demi. Um, he created the art direction for it, and then I took it over and made it into a fully fledged font. Also worked on a design system with color palettes and things like that that are like inherently African. Yeah, and then I launched it online. And then 2 years later,
Mm-hmm.
Google reached out to me because they had a project where they were commissioning African designers to make African fonts for Google Fonts. So it was a whole
Wow.
project that was just for that. Like we need to find African designers and commission them to make fonts for Google Fonts. So it just so happened that I had a font, so I didn't have to make one from scratch. Some of the designers in the project had to make theirs from scratch. I already had Sankofa, and I presented to them the because they were actually buying it. They weren't just getting the work done for free because it's Google, right? So they
Of
pay me
course,
quite a good sum of money
of
to
course.
to actually buy the rights to the font and publish it on Google Fonts, and that was a nice experience.
Wow.
Not only did they do that, they connected me with PhD level typography experts, right, to hold my hand and really make the font to Google Font specifications. Because you can imagine the technical specifications of
Of
putting a font
course.
on fonts are quite hectic. But more than that, the font needed to support, I forget now, but it's more than 100 languages as well.
Oh,
So in
oh.
I had to make, I think I started off with around 300 glyphs or characters, and Google wanted more than 800. Or like in the end, it ended up being about over 1,000 glyphs. Uh,
Wow.
so yeah, that's how that happens. So Google is now on Google Font, Sankofa, on any like it's pretty cool now because on Figma you can actually use Sankofa because Figma's
Yeah.
pull from Google Fonts.
Wow. This is an amazing story. It's
Yeah,
an
and then
amazing.
last thing, which was pretty awesome, is when Google released Material 3, which is their new expressive system. Their launch video featured my font, which is like
Wow.
awesome.
Amazing.
That's the best way to end the story there.
Wow. No, I don't think this will never be the end of the story. This is actually the beginning of the story. Yeah, this is actually the beginning of a bigger story. It must be. Must
Must
be.
be.
Wow. What you have mentioned about this identity crisis, it's synchronized with me about my first startup that I have launched. It was around 2016, 2017, and it was basically about the Arabic content on the internet. And in that time, the Arabic online audience was like 500 million people,
Mm,
while the Arabic content on the internet was only 4%.
wow.
While if you compared the Korean, for example, where the Korean people is only like 80 million, the Korean content was 4.5 or even 5% of the overall internet content. So I started to realize that time that there is two problems happening in the Arabic content industry. First one is this crisis that you have mentioned, that Arabic people is so much influenced by the idea of English and Western influence. So a lot of Arabic is actually right in English, whether it's
Mm,
your English or Arabic words in English characters,
right.
which is disaster. The second point was usually Arabic content creators was not able to monetize their content, and this was the whole idea about that startup, that Arabic identity startup that will help you to monetize your content. So it's 100% synchronized with me, or uh, like attached with my experience, because I have already lived the very same experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then you have moved to Dubai. Tell us a bit about your Dubai story, how it started and how you are ended up here.
Sure. My video is frozen. Is it also frozen for you?
Yes, it is actually.
But you can hear my voice?
Hmm. I can
Okay.
hear your voice. Yeah, it
I
came
think
back. It came
it's
back.
back. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it came back.
Yeah, so Dubai has been amazing. So I think what helped me integrate into Dubai a little bit easier is I started off in South Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
South Africa, I think you have you ever heard of it being called Rainbow Nation?
No,
Yeah.
not yet.
Yes, so South Africa is they call themselves a Rainbow Nation because it is a it's like super mixed cultures within South Africa. You've obviously got
Okay.
black people like me, but you've got a lot of white people from like the British kind of side. You've got the white people that are more Afrikaans and Dutch. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then you've got Indian people. I think the second largest population of Indians outside of India is in South Africa.
Okay.
Um, got a lot of Indians. And then I think, yeah, and then you've got mixed people called the colored people, which is usually a mixture of different ethnicities, largely black and
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you've got a lot of cultures, a lot of different languages. So I was already kind of thrown into a culture and place that was a melting pot of different people, different cultures. So in my team, I had black people, white people, Indian people, colored people,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
moving to Dubai, there was no real culture shock for me because I was already living that life. But the one thing, and also South Africa is a really mature market when it comes to digital. So I was working for a social media slash digital agency, which only
Mm-hmm.
did digital work. So it wasn't like a traditional advertising agency. They were purely digital agency. And that was quite a large business with probably 300 people. That shows you that from a digital perspective, South Africa is super mature. So
Mm-hmm.
again, Dubai wasn't much of a culture shock to move into a place that was digitally mature because I already had that exposure in South Africa. For me, so for me, it was really plug and play. Going from South Africa, Joburg, to Dubai was plug and play.
Wow. That's impressive. And the interview was basically surrounding the very same job that you have done before, right?
So this is interesting. So yes and no, actually.
Uh-huh.
So it's my journey into what I do now has been people just having faith in me. So when I moved to South Africa, I was
Okay.
more of an art director, right? So I didn't really work in UI UX product design in that world. I was an art director, meaning I worked on like digital campaigns for social media, ad
Uh-huh.
campaigns for print, and things like that. So for most of my time, probably 80% of my time in South Africa, that's what I did. And then I got a job offer at a rival agency, offering me more money there, but I was going to be an art director, which would have taken me in the art advertising career path. But one of the directors where I was working, who was the basically CEO of the software development side of the agency, then
Okay.
said to me, you're amazing. You can't leave. I'll match whatever salary they're going to give you. I'll match it, but come and do UI UX work for us here.
Wow.
Um, which I could do because back in Zimbabwe, running the agency, I was designing and building websites, right? So I had that ability to design and build digital things, even though I hadn't done it as a career up until then. So he just had faith
Yeah.
that I could do the stuff, even though in my portfolio, I didn't really have tangible evidence that I could do the work that I was hired to be doing. So he had
But
faith in me. And
how he got this faith or trust on you?
so, so most of the times when an agency does pitches for new business, they
Uh-huh.
present end-to-end executions for that company, right? So you will start with whether it's a rebrand or brand refresh of the logo. Then you'll do the visual identity. You'll do how does the new brand look like on billboards, on digital ads like Google Ads. Then how does the website look, right? So I was
Yeah.
the guy that they called when they needed a website to be designed for pitches.
Okay.
Known for being good at that within the agency. So he saw that and was like, you know what? I like you. You're a cool kid, and you can obviously design websites and digital things.
Okay.
So and enjoying. So I guess it was a combination of me doing a little bit of that already for the agency, but also
Okay.
I was proactive. So I did a lot of. I came up with a lot of ideas for the agency that we pitched to clients. Just me sitting at home coming up with cool ideas. that I pitched to our management, and then they pitched it to client. So I was already someone that was visible within the business. So he knew me, and he'd done some stuff with me.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So this is exactly what you have mentioned, that there is only one Batsy, there is only one Muhammad. It's your path who actually led you through this journey and
Yeah.
eventually facilitate you to get this job as easy as you have ever imagined.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're right. And I think the reason remember when you said that's an interesting perspective. The reason I have that perspective is when I made the move to South Africa, my dad actually said to me, the people you're about to meet are they're going to be surprised that a person like you exists.
Oh,
That's what he said to me. So that told me, that gave me an idea of, oh, actually, I shouldn't discount my experience in my past, because that is a major part of who I am and what I'm able to bring to an organization, which
yeah,
most that are going to be with me do not have, right? Because like you said, most people don't start a business after university; they just start working immediately.
exactly.
So yeah, I think my dad planting that seed of wherever you're gonna go, people are going to be surprised that a guy like you exists. I think it's still true today. That's the reason I think my career in Dubai and UAE has been the way it has been, because of that message my dad planted, that wherever you go, just remember who you are and what you bring to the table, because most people cannot bring that to the table.
Amazing advice. I really admire your father.
He's great.
Yeah, yeah. He's the reason that you are that person right now.
Absolutely.
Then, how was your Dubai journey? How long have you been in Dubai right now?
I've been here for 8 years. It's 8 years
Eight
now.
years. Okay.
Yes. So I started off in advertising predominantly, so doing UI UX work for advertising
Okay.
agencies, and then I moved to banking. So I went from senior designer to lead designer in the design system for MSNBD.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to experience lead at Ogilvy, and then I went to head of design at a bank. And this is my
Yeah.
second job. Yeah.
What an impressive journey. But actually, because of these talks all the time about AI everywhere, almost everywhere, and I'm actually experiencing it in my feeds every day.
Yes.
Some of the audience or the readers comments on one post that I have published, that this has been written by ChatGPT, for example. And in June, I believe June or July 2025, there was a statistics saying that already 50% of the new content published on internet
Online.
has
Yeah.
been written by an AI. So this is
Yeah.
everywhere. And just a few days ago, the Anthropic CEO in Davos conference has clearly mentioned that AI will write the programs or the code from now on.
Yes.
The guy, the CEO that has been created, Node.js, very famous JavaScript
Yes.
stack for building websites, has this post on Twitter saying that uh, humans are not going to write code anymore.
They
So
shouldn't.
between content creation, programming, UI designs, all it seems that all people are saying that AI is coming for our lunch. We are not going to
Yes.
create anything anymore. What is your perspective? How you can perceive this?
I think that is the right analysis. Like AI can do a lot of. So there's a guy called Mo Goddard. He used to work at Google, like C-suite Google,
Yeah, I
and
know
he
him, Muhammad Gaudat. Yeah,
yes, exactly. He's Egyptian, right?
yes, he is. Yeah,
American. Yes. And he describes it as anyone who's a knowledge worker like those are the first jobs to go in the intelligence age. And
Yeah.
he described it as the intelligence age, where before we had the information technology age, the IT age, where the internet boom and
Yeah.
transistors and all that stuff happened. Now we're moving to the intelligence age. And in the intelligence age, people that predominantly use their laptop to do work, those people are in trouble for sure. So you're talking
Okay.
about your creators, your graphic designers, your programmers, your project managers. If you rely on a computer to do your job, most likely you're already obsolete. It's just that your company hasn't caught up to the.
Adopted.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Why I say this, I think it's even more evident now with startups that are coming up now that are AI native. Because I had a conversation with someone yesterday who's working for a startup that's backed by Anderson Horowitz, Solana. The
Okay.
raise, I think, tens of millions, if not close to 100 million. I don't remember how much, but they raised quite a lot, probably over 100 million from like really large institutional. Anderson Horowitz is the biggest VC, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're backed by pretty big guns, and in their organization, they're leveraging AI for a lot of things. So they have AI agents within embedded within the organization from almost day one.
Mm-hmm.
Where personal things like personal assistants, project managers, they don't have any project managers. It's all done by AI agents. The guy is a designer. He was telling me when they started, he had 5 designers. They let go of 3 of them, and he now is just 2 of them doing all the design work. To the
Okay.
point where he has a design agent that the engineers can just ask questions and they can get whatever they need from the AI agent.
Yeah.
And the value that he and the other designer bring is actually going into the streets, into the markets they want to penetrate, talking to people, solving their problems, getting feedback from actual people. Because AI isn't your customer, right? Your customer is people.
Yeah.
So the value that they bring is more on let's understand our customers, let's speak to them because AI can't do that right now. And then let's bring those insights into the company and let AI build from those insights. So you can imagine if a company, if a startup needed 3 designers and 10 engineers to launch like MVP or whatever, now you
Mm-hmm.
only need 2 and maybe 3 engineers. But you're picking high level people, right?
Of
These are
course.
now super senior designers, super senior engineers, and he was saying the same thing happened to the engineering. They only have senior engineers. They're mid to junior engineers. They had to let them go because AI
Oh.
is writing all that code. So yes, you're right. People's jobs are in trouble, and only really the funnel is going to be everyone to only the elite are going to be left because AI will take over all everything else.
Okay.
That's
And
yeah.
those elites actually the ones who has taught themselves how to use AI.
They've taught themselves how to use AI, but that's only 10% of it. The real value they bring is in their thinking, right? So you want people that can solve problems, people that, like you're saying, can adopt really quickly, people
Hmm.
that add value, because you want people that add value to then just use AI to execute. So AI is just a tool to execute at the moment, right? Tomorrow it could be something else. Today it's AI, but who knows? Tomorrow it might be something else. But you
Yeah.
still have those people in the center that are orchestrating all of this change, orchestrating all of this value for the business. So that's what I encourage people to try and become in and of themselves. Just be a someone that's a solution architect, be someone that can solve problems, someone that can surface the right questions to ask. Because a lot of the times you need to ask the right question
Yeah.
to find the problem that you actually need to solve. So we need those kind of people. Those kind of people, yes, they're the ones that are going to be sought after. Because not only can you implement and deploy AI agents, but you can actually use the agents to solve the right problem.
Okay. Okay. I have actually read one post for you on LinkedIn that you have managed to increase the efficiency of your design workflow by 70% using the AI. يعني explain to us how did you manage to do this? Because this is an impressive improvement. 70% is not small amount.
So I'm trying to remember. So there's two things. I think that might have been design systems that came before AI actually. So this was building systems to enable the developers to do their work 70% faster.
Okay.
So we essentially had a code base that was built using a system that then allowed other devs to rebuild screens and things much faster because there was a system in place. I think that might be what you're referring to with the 70% statistic. How it came about with that statistic is we actually measured it. So we had a developer build something without the system we'd created, and then
Okay.
another build it with the system. And they did it in like literally 70% faster than the other guy, just looking at the amount of time it took them and making
Okay.
a percentage
Okay.
of that. That's how we actually got to that percentage.
So
But that was not there.
this was about the building system for the work, right?
Yes, exactly. But what's
Ah,
interesting now is that is actually relevant now with AI because I think there was a statistic last year, it's probably higher now, that 80% of all the code on GitHub is written by AI right now. Probably more
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so if you look at our engineers that are at a deep where I work, we've got probably close to 200 engineers or about 100 and something engineers. Their productivity is now being enhanced with these platforms like GitHub Copilot that actually allow
Yeah.
you to that basically write code with you, right, side by side. So for each
Yeah.
developer we have, you can imagine they now have a senior engineer with them writing code with them, right? So you've doubled your
Mm.
workforce,
Yeah.
uh, and it's only improving and getting better every day. The AI.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of efficiencies now by pairing our engineers with AI, and similarly with design. We're not quite there yet when it comes to automating design with AI. We still do our design with the traditional way, but there are things that AI is helping us do that are more not design related but admin related. That stuff we're
Hmm.
trying to automate, like exporting designs or doing content writing or content revision, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff we're now trying to build AI into our workflows. But design
Mm.
itself, we haven't gotten to a place where we're using AI to design.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet, yeah, because the tools that are there at the moment aren't better than a good designer. Not yet.
Okay. Okay. But eventually, maybe.
This is the I like the perspective that this is the worst version of AI, right? So it only gets better from here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And coming to this perspective specifically about the design and the developing apps, I'm always reading some articles about what so-called the death of the screen, meaning that apps maybe disappear in the coming 5 years, and it will be only an agents that we are talking to through AirPods or some physical device, maybe we are wearing or like phones, but there will not be a need for a screen to look at to make some tasks. Are you visualizing this happening in the app industry, especially maybe in banking or fintech?
It does seem like that would be a natural place for our technology to evolve towards. It's
يبدو الإنترنت فصل عنده. إن شاء الله هيدخل دلوقتي سريعا. لحد ما هو يدخل. شكرا جزيلا لكل الناس اللي متابعين، ان شاء الله حوالي 200 شخص متابعين معانا اللايف. اتمنى ان هو يكون مفيد، وزي ما كنت وعدت على تويتر ان شاء الله يعني هنترجم كل الكلام ده بعد اللايف.
Okay, I
Hello
think we got
again.
cool.
Yeah, the internet maybe has disconnected, but it's okay. It's okay. It happens. So
Yes.
we
So I
were
was saying it
discussing
feels
about
like
the death of apps as we know today, and maybe the AI will be an agent that we are talking with our voice. Like for
yes,
example, these glasses for Meta, Ray-Ban Meta glasses that you can talk to and execute some commands, take photo, make some posts, make some maybe Amazon order.
yes. So the two, I guess, perspectives I have for this. The first one is more practical, and then the other one is speculation because we don't really know, right? We
Yeah,
can't predict the future. What I see happening today with early people that have adopted this technology early is being able to use agentic AI to do tasks for you, right? So that would be, you would still need a screen to interact with the agent, right? So
mm,
either you send a WhatsApp or Telegram message,
hmm,
or you send a command with your voice that then translated to text for it, right? You still need some kind of screen to give it commands.
yeah,
What you do then is you empower that agent to connect through into your ecosystem. So you no longer need WhatsApp, Slack,
yeah,
Gmail, Out,
yeah,
Teams. You no longer need 5 or 6 primary apps to either run your business or run your life. You now
yeah,
just need, so you need like WhatsApp or Telegram, where you send an agent a message and then they can perform a task on your behalf. So today, when it comes to today, yes, I think you're right in that our requirement for multiple screens is becoming less because all you need is
hmm,
one input to an agent that can then proliferate that task and execute it across multiple ecosystems, multiple techs,
yeah,
and multiple systems. Right. Whereas before, you would have needed to open an app, open another app, open your Gmail, and do things, right?
yeah, yeah,
So naturally, that funnel is reducing to needing one input for multiple ecosystems because agents are doing these things now.
hmm,
Someone actually showed me this in action yesterday
okay,
at that startup I mentioned, where he's built agents. Like he's got a personal assistant agent, he's got a design agent, he's got like 5 or 6 agents that are specialized in different things.
okay,
Um, that just do stuff for him. It's one of those things where the entire company is AI native. So even the CEO has an army of agents that run his personal life, but also his business life. It's quite amazing. So that's what I see. That's the next step for me. I think is to start creating my own agents to do things for me.
yeah,
And then when you look at the future, where we're going, not requiring a screen at all, I'll go as far as Elon Musk Neuralink, where
yeah,
it's now just human brain computer interface. Think it, and it'll do it. We
yeah,
can transmit
exactly.
data between you and me just through um, brain signals, right? That's if I'm going to take it far, that's as far as I'm going to take it. Not even the Meta glasses, because I think
Yeah,
that's where it's going.
oh, I have seen this video maybe yesterday on X Twitter that yeah, some of Neuralink patients are playing games only by their brain.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The first guy who got Neuralink, he's American. He was paralyzed,
Yeah,
par- like waist down, neck down, and like you said, he got the surgery. They implanted Neuralink in him, and he could play. You know the game Call of Duty, the video
Call of
game,
Duty. Yeah,
the shooting game. So
yeah,
his reaction time. is much better, obviously, than someone using a keyboard and mouse or a controller.
Of course.
So it's almost like wherever he looks, he shoots, right? So it's one of those like the things you can do with this type of technology are like just unlocking a level of human performance that we've never seen before. It's quite fascinating.
Wow, wow. Okay, let's start taking this part, that unlocking human potential, because as in the same time, when people are saying that AI is going to take jobs, it's going to cut employees and so on.
Yeah,
In the same time, in the same narration, they are also saying that AI will help founders and entrepreneurs to
yeah,
build one man company and
yeah,
take it from zero to 100 million valuation or even 1 billion valuation, only one
yeah,
man
yes,
company. And since you have done this yourself, recently you launched your startup, myself and of course the audience will definitely wants to know on practical
yeah,
how this process might work, because it's quite overwhelming, to be honest, to be very honest with you, when you hear a lot of videos like saying one man can build $1 billion value company,
yes,
but
yes,
still there must be a process you have to go through, right? You have to pick an
yes,
idea first place, you have to
yes.
verify your idea, you have to study the business, you have to build the MVP, you have to approach the customer. So tell me your own story. How did you start from idea to launching your product using AI?
Thank you. That's a really good. I think it's also a very important discussion to have
Yeah.
um, for a few reasons. So the first reason I think is I remember listening to a podcast where they were having this exact conversation.
Hmm.
He described it as, if you remember back in like 300-400 years ago, the way
Yeah.
the societies used to work, people used to specialize. So you would be a blacksmith or a cobbler that made shoes, or you'd be an alchemist, or you were a farmer, or you were a sheep herder. You had
Yes.
one thing you did, which was almost like a business, right? You were self-employed and
Yeah.
you provided that service to your larger community, and that's how you survived. People paid you or traded with you. So if you're a
Yeah.
blacksmith, maybe you needed raw materials that a miner had,
Yeah.
um, but in order for someone to mine, they need a pick, right?
Yes.
You would make the pick, they would give you the raw materials to make the pick, and that's how you trade
Yeah.
without any need for currency, right? So that's how things used to be. And the way AI is enabling us now is almost, we can almost go back to that place where each
Hmm.
one of us can, in and of themselves, solve a problem for society. The only
Okay.
difference is you're no longer serving a village, you're serving the entire world, right? Because the internet opens you up to having anyone in the world be a customer. So if
Correct.
you're able to solve a problem, you don't need a job. You don't need to wake up every morning at 9 o'clock, wear a tie, and go to work. You could be that blacksmith. You could be that miner who sits at
Yeah.
home, builds something that's of value, and is able to give you an income enough to survive.
Correct.
Right. That's why I think this is a really important discussion. Even though we're saying AI is coming for your job, it is your job to make sure that you remain relevant and you figure out what this new world disposition looks like, right? What is this
Yeah.
new, I think they call it dispensation, I think. What is this
Hmm.
world? How do I begin to integrate into this new world that we're calling the intelligence age? Where
Hmm.
before we had the information technology age, where yes, your value was to sit on a computer and create value. Now your job in the intelligence age is no longer that, because AI is doing that
Yeah.
computer part of the job. Your value and in your job is to figure out how to build something that provides value to the world, and that's how you're going to make your living. Because ultimately, 3 4 years down the line, like we were saying, most of us aren't going to be relevant in the marketplace, right? AI will be doing it.
Of course.
So within this context, I was thinking last year, fine. I need to practice what I preach, right? If I'm telling people this, then I need to practice what I preach, right? And it all starts with learning how to build software, right?
Okay.
Learn the tools. And it's really cool now because it's all natural language. You can just tell it, create a page that has a sign up form with email and password. Boom, it does it for you, right? So you don't really need to know the underlying code necessarily, although it helps. You
Okay.
just need to be able to learn how to talk to the system effectively and how to build software. So that's the foundation. So I'll take you through my journey since
Yeah,
you asked about the journey, right?
exactly.
Um, so it starts what I highly recommend people start doing is just pick a platform. There's Lovable, there's Cursor, there's Base 44. There are a few really key main ones. Even Claude Code, I guess, is one of them as well.
Yeah.
Pick one and just build something. Doesn't matter what it is. If you use TikTok every day, build TikTok. You can literally tell it, make an app like TikTok, and it'll make an app like TikTok. Make an app like
Wow.
Airbnb, it'll make an app like Airbnb. And through that process, it'll begin to remove those barriers that we all have to say, I have no idea how to make software. I couldn't do it. If you see yourself in 10 minutes building a website like Airbnb fully functional, then all of a sudden the wheels are off, right? You now are more
Yeah.
comfortable. You now know how to use it and how to talk to it. So that's the first place I started. That's the first place I recommend people do. Just open one up and build something. The next part is just because you can build it doesn't mean you should build it. Okay. So what
Hmm.
that means, not everything you can build is worth building, right?
Yeah.
So you spoke about, and this is very wise, what you said about how do you know what to build, right? How do you figure out what's the problem and then build the solution for it? Because not everything will make you money. Like if you need $2,000 a month to survive because you live in Africa where it's cheaper, or you live in New York where you need $10,000 a month to survive, we
Yeah.
all have scales of how much money do I need to leave my job, right? Or how
Yeah.
much money do I need to be making, such that if I'm let go at work because AI is doing what I do,
Yeah.
I'm okay because this thing I built is making that money. So we all have different scales.
Correct.
Um, I have a different amount I need coming in every month. Someone in the cheaper part of the world has a different amount. So
Yeah.
figure out what that amount is. Um, and that's essentially your goal for whatever software or platform you're going to build, try to monetize. That's your end goal for the revenue you need minimum to be able to say, okay, in the intelligence age, I'm going to be okay no matter what happens.
Okay.
So not everything worth building, not
Yes.
everything you can build is worth building. So the important part is to figure out a problem and solve it. And I remember seeing a clever way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, incidentally, was using AI. Is there's a guy that was saying he's built a set of agents, AI agents, that go on Reddit and find the top things people are complaining about.
Okay.
In order to make money, you need to solve a problem. This has been
Of course.
true history and time in memoriam, right?
Of course.
People are
Of
going
course.
to pay you for solving problems for you. So how do you find problems? Go out where people talk about their problems, form those ideas, and then pick one that kind of resonates and excites you as a problem to solve. Because you also need
Wow.
to be excited, right? It needs
Of
to
course.
also be a passion and something that you're excited about. So if you're
Yeah.
interested in pets, if you're interested in music, if you're interested in surfing, if you're interested in financial services, you can tell your agent, go on these subreddits and find out what people are saying are issues and problems, create a summary for me and an analysis and a business case for the top three problems that you find with the most complaints. And then you
Okay.
just let AI do that work for you, that research work. Because AI is really good at this. It's really good at research.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In 10, 20 minutes, you've got a document, three ideas that are the top problems on Reddit, for example, for the specific thing that you want to focus on, right? Again, if you love pets, if you love music, etc. And then you pick one of them that you really like. So all
Yeah.
of a sudden, you've used AI to identify a genuine problem in the market that apparently no one is solving because people are complaining about it.
Yeah.
And you've learned how to use AI because you've just built random things over the past month, and you know how to actually get started solving that problem. So that's the next thing you need to do.
Wow.
For our business that we launched now, Facely, we didn't do this necessarily because the business started off with my co-founder just saying, "Man, I used to work in this industry, and the problem is the existing companies are super large, super enterprise, and super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing for the ordinary designer or the ordinary researcher to use. There's really nothing because all the software that exists is super academic, super large, and super expensive." Then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I'm building stuff with AI for the past month. I can totally build something." Right? And then that's how the business started. So just having that, this is why I make the point of the first thing you need to do is just build anything because it gives you confidence to say, "Oh, I can imagine the dots I need to connect to actually
Ah,
build a platform like this." So
wow.
that's finding the problem to solve, right?
Okay.
The next thing I would recommend people do, which is what I did in this journey, is the planning phase is more important than anything else. Like
Okay.
I have the voice version of ChatGPT that you can talk to. So I spent probably half an hour to a couple of hours just talking to ChatGPT about the problem and asking it how I can actually build it. So my software problem needed APIs, right? I needed an API to do the functional analysis
Of
that we
course.
had. So I asked it, okay, I want to do this. I want to build something that does this. What APIs are available in the market that I can connect to do this analysis? And then it gave me two or three. Okay, I like the sound of that one. That sounds easier to connect to. Tell me about
Mm-hmm.
that one. How does it work? How do I pay for it, etc. So I had a
Okay.
conversation, a literal voice conversation with ChatGPT.
Okay.
Uh, gave me a sense of, okay, the technology to build this thing actually exists. If I take this thing and this thing and this thing and put it together through the APIs, I can do this. Fine, now I know how to do it. The next part of the planning is to act like your own project manager. So I used Trello,
Trello.
where
Okay.
ChatGPT, now that I had the problem I wanted to solve, I asked ChatGPT to create a CSV file, like an Excel file,
Yeah.
with all the features I needed. We in software development we call them epics. So
Yeah.
your main category of feature and their subcategories.
Yeah.
Pre-login, for example, is one category. The subcategories under pre-login is account creation, reset passwords, and login.
Of
Right. So
course.
things you do before you log in are you can create an account, you can log in on a page, or you can reset your password if you've forgotten it. Right.
Yeah.
So I just went through just like that. Profile and settings. That's the main epic. Under profile and settings, I'm going to need personal information, your preferences on the platform. I'm going to have
Yeah.
support, etc. I didn't have to think of these things, right? ChatGPT, again, really good at coming up with things like this. So I just told
Yeah.
ChatGPT, create the epics I need for MVP. This is the MVP I want, which is the minimum viable product. You don't want to build this massive piece of software first, right? Make sure that you just focus on a small part of it and build
Yeah.
that for expanding. So that was my MVP. So it generated this Excel file with all the main categories that the software needed and all its subcategories.
Yeah.
The next thing I did was there's a plugin on Trello where you can take that CSV and it will create the cards for you on Trello, right?
Okay.
So that's now my project management. So I import that onto Trello. I now have my to-do list,
Uh-huh.
my in progress list, and my done list, right? So Kanban, typical Kanban. So
Wow.
automatically I've got like 50 cards on Trello imported from that Excel file ChatGPT made. and each card is one of those epics. So like pre-login, you open that card, it has a checklist that I need to just tick off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Project management. So when I started the project, this is the groundwork that I did. So I knew exactly how I was going to build it, what APIs I needed, and you can imagine one of the epics was obviously APIs, right? So sign
Of
up to
course.
this platform, create an API key, check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Input
Yeah.
an API key on your platform, check. So it gave me really a blueprint for
Wow.
how to build my MVP. And so when it came to building it, I just went on. I'm using Lovable. Just went on Lovable,
Yeah.
picked it out on Trello, moved it to in progress, and just tick things off one on one. Once that was done, moved it to done, pick the next one, and that's how I built the platform. Just using AI to help me ideate, come up with the technology stack I was going to need, using AI
Okay.
to generate my project plan, importing that onto Trello, and then my part of it then came to build it, where I was just ticking off the tasks on Trello. So in a nutshell, that's how you would start from zero, no idea at all, to having an idea, planning with ChatGPT how to execute the idea, using
Hmm.
ChatGPT to create your project plan, and then using a software like Lovable or Base 44 to execute that project plan.
Wow. Wow. So if I summarize, let me summarize. So make sure that I understand, the audience understand. First, you start by building something, anything, just
Yes.
to get your hands inside the process,
Yes.
understand how does it work, understand how can you build anything from scratch, just by the pure language. Like write me this app, write me this website, whatever, right? So this is the first step. Second step is to look for a problem to solve. You have proposed Reddit as an example, but you, for your case, you already has have a problem because you already living it, right?
Yes.
In maybe one of the audience case, he has already a problem that he is living every day, so this will be his own problem that he will going to solve. So
Exactly.
third one is to start planning, again with the help of AI. So you will start chatting or discussing this idea with the AI to build a plan for implementing this problem. Then the project management, again with the help of AI, by building a list of epics or tasks that needs to be implemented. Then use a project management tool. You propose Trello. There is a lot of them, but Trello is
Yes.
one good example. Then when you go through those tasks one by one, tick, 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 eventually you will have your product.
Exactly.
This is the process from the idea to launching. But again, my belief is this is the easiest part in the process. We still did not go to the hardest part. How will you get the customer? How you will put this product in front of the world so they can use and you can monetize with the help of AI as well,
Yes.
basically.
I think you're right. That is definitely the hardest part. Getting your first paying customer
Exactly.
is extremely difficult.
Yep.
I'm in no way, shape, or form deluded to think that's going to be easy. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And it's also something to for people to realize is your first idea is likely going to fail. Okay,
Yep.
it's usually it's like your fifth, sixth, eighth idea that is the thing that's going to make you $2,000 a month, right?
Yes.
And it's not even a billion, just $2,000 a month. So again, the whatever problem you're going to solve first, you'll be very like the 1% people if that works out. It's going to fail.
Yeah.
The next is going to fail, etc.
Yeah.
So just be prepared for that in your mind. Like if it
Yeah.
fails, that's okay. It's supposed to fail. But all the experience you've got from that project will make the next one instead of 6 months take 1 month, right? Because now you
Yeah.
know how to execute. It's just about being fortunate, being in the right place at the right time, solving the right problem eventually, to get something that will work out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of launch, we, my co-founder and I actually found someone. I met him at a meetup in Abu Dhabi, who
Okay.
had started a company about 10 years ago
Mm-hmm.
and exited that company. He it was based in Vienna, Austria. Now he's living
Okay.
here with his family, starting his second company. So this
Okay.
is someone who's an entrepreneur at heart. All he's ever done is run his own companies.
Yeah.
Uh, Never fundraised. He's always bootstrapped all his companies. So
Yeah.
he knows how to get customers. So I would say find someone like that. Find someone who's done it and just have a
Okay.
conversation with them and speak to them. And the advice that we got is start small, and talk to as many people as you can. So,
Mm-hmm.
or you even build, like we were saying, what I was saying about going on Reddit and using agentic AI to farm ideas. That's one way. He actually recommended just go out and talk to people, have coffee with people, go with his crowds and talk to people and try and find what pains them and etc.
Yeah.
That's what he recommends. But once you have a product and you want to launch it, he recommends starting small. So that's the reason with Facely, we are starting with 50 people that we reached out to individually in person on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And that's how we built our first set of, we think we've got 54, 55 people now
Yep.
on that platform. So that's how we're getting our first set of users. We're
And
going to continue.
how did you choose this? And what was the criteria that you
So
used to select?
yeah. So for us, it's easy because our software is for designers, researchers, and marketers. My
Okay.
audience is 90% design.
Okay.
The way we did it is I put a post on LinkedIn and just said, if you're interested on signing up, comment in, and I will DM you with the details. So the people that
Okay.
commented in were interested, and I DM'd them the link, and they went on to register. Right.
Okay. Okay.
That's how I did it. That's how we did it. So yeah, if you're launching, start small with your first 50 or so customers. But what's important here is the first version of what you build may not be the final version. Most of the time, it isn't.
Of course.
In the software world, you'll know it's called product market fit,
Yep.
right? So you need to work with your customers to find what product fits their needs, right? Product market fit.
Yep.
That's the stage we're at now. Working with a few customers, as they use the software, they will tell us issues they have, and then we'll kind of build it with them before we launch it.
Yeah.
Uh, and then after we launch it, our strategy now is going to be to use agentic AI for the outreach. So it's not really
Okay.
scalable for me to keep DMing people on LinkedIn, right? It's not scalable.
Of
I can
course.
only do so. So we're actually going to set up uh, agentic AI on two fronts. First one is marketing. So
Okay.
after we launch, best way to get yourself out there is just to post content on online, right?
Of course.
Uh, we're going to set up a marketing agency with AI agents, with
Okay.
a researcher, content strategist, and our social media agent, like social media expert, you could say.
Correct.
And the role is the researcher finds content related to our platform. So we're in the biometric research world. So
Yeah.
it'll find literature on biometric research, um, to then feed to my content strategist who will read that research, come up with content ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, social media platform requires a different format.
Of course.
So that's the job of the content strategist to take that research, create social content for
Mm-hmm.
the different platforms, and then my social media guy will take that content for LinkedIn or that content for Instagram or that content for TikTok or X. They
Yeah.
will then create the post and schedule it and post it.
Yeah.
So our marketing agency within the business or marketing team, I think
Yeah.
initially we'll have three agents, and then importantly, the outreach will be a separate agent that just does outreach. So this
Yeah.
agent will have access to my LinkedIn. Their job is to go on my LinkedIn, find the designers I'm connected to or who follow me, and DM them to say, "Hey, hi, I'm Batsy. Basically has launched. Click here to sign up.
Yeah,
Look at feedback. But love Batsy, whatever, right?"
yeah,
So
yeah,
it can
yeah,
do this. I've got 11,000 followers. It can do all 11,000 in a day,
yeah, exactly, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Slow it down because we want to build this with the community. So we'll tell it probably do 10 a week because when it reaches out, I still want that one-on-one connection
Yeah,
with that sign up because again, we're still a product market fit. We're building it for the community with the
correct.
community. So it's valuable for us to curate the platform with them as we build it. And then hopefully, as we scale it week on week with these agents, we
Hmm.
will get to a point where after we have like 5,000 users, one of them makes their first purchase, and then
Yeah,
that's we'll celebrate.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Wow, what a journey!
Yeah,
What a
but
journey it will be.
it will.
Maybe in couple of month time frame we will have another session, another episode
Yeah,
that you tell us a story how it actually happened on the ground.
yes, I would love to do that. Yes,
Yeah, this will be an amazing journey.
because
Wow.
what we're planning to do now with agentic AI, our direction now is to build our startup with a workforce of agents, not like people, because
Humans.
we're
Yeah,
bootstrapping, right? We're not fundraising, so we can't
exactly.
afford to hire a CTO, we can't afford to hire marketing, we can't
Exactly.
afford. Someone actually told me now that VCs are preferring companies that are AI native in their approach
Of
because if
course.
you give them money, that money will last much longer,
Yeah.
right? The way we scale is in building AI infrastructure versus scaling with hiring people. Our runway will be much healthier than a startup that has to hire people,
100%.
right? So even if we do want to fundraise later, making sure that on day one we're AI native in our workforce, I think will be critical.
100%. 100% agreed. And يعني in the same time where we are happy about this strategy, it's kind of sad because before, when you are building a startup, you will start thinking, I will probably need to hire 10 people. Now we are saying I will probably need to build 10 agencies.
So
Imagine how it has
let me
been.
let me offer you a different perspective to that. So I
Uh-huh,
yes, if you look at it from there are people that are not getting jobs, then yes, you could say that narrative is sad.
uh-huh,
But I look at it as actually what's happening is each of us is creating value, right? So
uh-huh,
me, in it for myself, I can create something that has value to thousands of people, right? If I'm saying we're going to have thousands of people on the platform within a few weeks, within a few months, because agents are going to do outreach, and
uh-huh.
that's scalable, right? Then actually what I'm doing is creating value for thousands of people. What stops
Yeah,
people from doing the same thing, right? Don't rely on a startup founder to hire you.
yeah,
Start your own company and give people value. Because ultimately, if you go back to what we're talking about, that's what the intelligence age is all about. It's about
yeah,
democratizing intelligence. Now you don't need a CTO, you don't need a marketing expert, you don't need a designer, you don't need an engineer. All that intelligence has been democratized. It's available for you to
yeah,
build and produce immense value for the world. So don't sit in a corner crying that, oh, startup founders don't need me anymore.
yeah.
Become one that adds value and build something for yourself.
It's a huge paradigm shift, to be honest, for
It
those
is.
people. But
It is.
it's it's either they are going to do it or خلاص they will be left over.
Yes. Evolve or die.
Yeah, it is the very purest law of the nature. Evolve
Yes.
or die. Wow, what a world we are living in right now. Amazing. It was an amazing discussion with you, but
Thank you.
I
Thank
literally enjoyed it so much. And since, as I mentioned in the beginning, the main idea about the title of the show, which is Miras, is to convey the real experience. We always end by this typical question, which is,
Okay.
let's assume that Patsy now, after all of this experience that you have gone through, all of this achievement that you have already, mashallah, done, imagine that you will go to the square zero again. So you don't have anything. You don't have the font, Sankofa font. You don't have Fastly. You don't have this title in Adib, but you have the experience, though. You have the experience. So you have the experience, but you have nothing else. What should you do now to reclaim all what you have done before?
Let me think about this.
Yeah, please.
I think
Because
it's
this is,
a good question, and yeah. So if I'm trying to rebuild what I have today, starting from nowhere in the world we're living in today, the only way to do that, I think, would be obviously to use AI in some way, shape, or form. Um, so I would do exactly what we've been talking about. I would try to find a problem to solve.
mhm,
Is trying to, if we just say strip everything away, have the experience. The tempting thing to do is to try to find a job, obviously, right? I've
of
got all
course.
the experience. I just don't have the job. I just don't have the
Yeah,
title. I just don't have but I've got the experience. That
yeah,
means I'm able, right? That would be the tempting thing to maybe say, jump back into the world of working but I think what would be more forward looking is
mhm,
to try and build something for myself, just like the beginning of my career was me
yeah,
building something for myself. I think that's a natural place to go with the tools that we have available to us
right
now.
now.
You can figure something out that will might not work the first time, but it'll definitely work the fifth, sixth, or seventh time.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. So you will leverage your experience, find a problem to solve, use the AI to build a product surrounding this problem, then start to offer it to the world.
I think so.
Yeah, what a an amazing advice. I believe this advice is like timeless advice. It can be applicable today, it can be applicable tomorrow, it can be applicable yesterday even. It's timeless advice. Yeah. Amazing, Batsy. I really appreciate your time. I'm really, really happy that we have this discussion. I'm 100% sure that the 300 people that is watching us right now has enjoyed as same as I have enjoyed it. We will definitely translate this to Arabic and publish it again, so all the audience in Arabic and English can benefit from this. And take a note in your calendar that couple of months from now we will have the very same interview to know from you how did you manage to build your entire team of AI agents.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me, Mohammed. This has been
Yeah,
fun for me, and I think what's also been amazing for me is having just the time to stop and reflect.
yeah,
Because we don't get the time to just stop our busy lives and just look back at where we've come from and dream about where we want to go. So thank you for that.
yeah,
Enjoyed it
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Batsy. It's really amazing to
Cheers.
have you, and see you soon.
Ciao.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.